That's Terry and Louis and Waleed and Baba C. And anyone else that's listening out in Facebook world, Vimeo world, YouTube world, any world at all, the parallel worlds of virtual reality. We have tonight the amazing, the fantastic, the amazing Baba C. But before I allow him to speak, I must say what's coming up. Next Friday, there's Sarah Lloyd Wender. This is just in case I'm not here at the end, but Tuesday, we have, as well as our regular young tellers, we have all the participants in last week's storytelling competition from Gaza are going to come on Tuesday and so that's going to be a really special show. But for now, we have the really special show, the really the amazingly special show. I can't do the 1,000 people shouting Baba C, but I am going to just say it myself, Baba C, Baba C. Baba C, have you got a tale or two to tell us?
I think I have a tale or two that needs to be told, so I'll tell the tales that need to be told, because today I'm telling. For those of you who may not have caught John's reference, while we were in Marrakesh in Morocco, we went to a school, and when we got to the school, it's like the whole student body had assembled in the hallway, and they were chanting, Baba C, Baba C, Baba C. And evidently, one of the instructors had talked about me, and it showed pictures of me. So even though I was not alone, I was with John Rowe, and John Rowe was dressed regally with his scepter and all. They just broke out Baba C, and they pointed at me. It was a very rewarding, overwhelming, and appreciative gesture. And I really treasure it. It'll be one of the memories I carry with me for life. So that was John Rowe referencing to. But now I have to start off this Baba C tells stories for children with the Baba rap. So those of you who know, if I do this, you can say, see. So I got to do the Baba rap. Here we go. From Africa to the American South, magical words flow from my mouth. While the sun and the moon, they live in the sky. The signifying monkey got caught in his life. Anansi's lazy, but the spider's not crazy. When history gets hazy, I don't get phased, man. The grill out, the shade, the tell the stories, the big and the small. I tell it all. Some of them try to grill, but they can't grill like this. Some of them try to grill, but they can't. Because I'm the Baba C. The Baba C. The Baba C. Because I celebrate and educate and fascinate. Because I fascinate and educate and celebrate. Because I celebrate and educate and fascinate. Because I fascinate and educate and celebrate. I'm the Baba C. The Baba C. The Baba C. I'm the Baba C and not the Baba A, but Afrocentric is my way. I'm the Baba C and not the Baba B, but black and beautiful is what I be. I'm the Baba C carrying constantly. I'm the Baba C carrying constantly. I'm the Baba C carrying constantly. I'm the Baba C. The Baba C. The Baba C. The and now it's time for a story. Thank you very much, Louis. Oh, talking about Africa and Washington, D.C. No one said anything about Washington, D.C., but that's where he's from. Oh, it reminded me, I found something I've been working on before going to Marrakesh, and I thought I'd share it. I still don't know the cadence. I don't know if it's a poem or a chant, but I just want to share it with you. And it says, there is a Baba named C, master storyteller, and griot is he, telling stories from New Jersey to Tennessee, and especially in the DMV. When COVID struck, he refused to be stuck, learned to Zoom, his storytelling resumed. Having traveled multiple states, Baba C has opportunity to embrace traveling to Marrakesh to give Africa a taste of a Baba named C. I found that this morning while preparing. Thank you, thank you, thank you. So this morning, I'm sharing some more of my favorite tales. You may have heard a tale or two told before, but just like a good meal, if it's worth eating, it's worth having again. Just like a good deed, if it's worth telling, it's worth doing again. So this story is about the sly cat. There was a cat. Of course there was a cat. That's the name of the story. It's a sly cat. And this cat, when it was young, was a very good mouser. I mean, he could catch mice. I mean, he just caught them left and right and left, right and left, left and right. He was very, very good at it. But like most things, he got older and he got older, he got older, he got slower, he got slower, and he got slower. And soon the mice were able to outrace him and try as best he could. He couldn't catch a mouse he just couldn't catch him. So one day the cat got up, started walking, and just keeled over and played like it was dead. He refused to move. Some of the mice were looking, sniffing, looking, sniffing, and they decided to go check and see if the cat was alive. And one poked the cat, but the cat didn't move. Another one came out and poked the cat, but the cat didn't move. One jumped up and pounced on the cat's stomach, but the cat didn't move. Soon the cat was surrounded by mice. And the moment he detected he was surrounded by mice, he jumped up and he started grabbing them left and right. And he caught most, if not all of them. And the mice, they ran. Of course they ran. They were running from a cat. But mice never forget. Mice have very good memories. And from this day on, mice do not trust cats, be they dead or alive. Now, if you're a mouse, the lesson is never trust a cat. If you're not a mouse, the lesson is learn whom to trust and when to trust them. And that is my tale. Oops, I stepped on a pen, the pen bent, and that's the way that story went. I love it. For those that may not know, if you're in the audience, you see people waving their hands up in the air, it's the way they applaud in the deaf community. Except for Louis, who's regal and royal. Yes. Learn something new every time I tune into the worldstorytellingcafe.com. So this story, my next story, I have my reference sheet because I have so many stories. Oh, this is a story, it's a little sad, but this is a story about why the bat only comes out at night. Now, I'm not talking about the bat as in played in baseball or cricket. I hope I got that sport right. They use a bat. I'm talking about a bat that flies. But at one time, the bat used to fly during the day. No, never mind. The bat used to fly during the day. Now, the bat and the mouse were bestest of friends. They were BFFs, best friends forever. And they used to go gathering food to cook. Now, the bat could cook. The bat could K-O-O-K, cook. And Louis, that's not the way you spell cook, but I'm just saying that. C-O-O-K for cook. But anyhow, the bat could cook. And the mouse didn't understand. They went out, they gathered the same thing. They cooked in the same, they cooked in identical giant cauldrons or big pots. But the bat's food always came out so much better. People bragged about the bat's food. I mean, the bat was all that and a bag of chips, even though somebody missed fish and chip day today, but we're not gonna talk about that. But bat's food was delicious. And the mouse said, I don't understand. I don't understand. I don't understand. We get the same ingredients. We have the same kind of pot. We cook the same way. Why does your food taste so much better than mine? And the bat said, well, I'm going to let you in on a little secret. You see, when I cook my food and the water is real hot, I just dip myself into the water and I stir the water with my body. And that's the special secret seasoning that I use. You should try it. And the mouse said, yeah, I will. I will. But first the mouse checked on the bat, and he saw the bat putting all the ingredients in his great big pot. He heard the water coming to a boil, and then he saw the bat hovering just below the lid of the pot. And he thought the bat was dipping himself into the water, but he wasn't. He was hovering just above the boiling water. Now, mice don't have wings. And unlike flying squirrels, they can't fly or glide. So the mouse said, all right. He got his stuff, put all of his ingredients in, put his seasonings in, let the water come to a boil, and jumped in. Don't try this at home. Do not do this at home, because the poor mouse got very badly burned and he had to jump out of the pot. And he ran around screaming, because that was not a nice thing for the bat to do. And he ran to the village, and the people in the village, Kijiji, if you speak Swahili, they wanted to know what was wrong, and the bat and the mouse told him how the bat had tricked him into jumping into a pot of hot water. Well, the Oba, the king, said, no, this will not stand. We have to bring the bat into the village for justice. And so people went looking for the bat. When they looked up, the bat flew down. When they looked down, the bat flew up. When they looked left, the bat flew right. When they looked right, the bat flew left. And every time they looked for the bat, in fact, the bat found a tree with a big hole in it, and he flew inside the hole and he stayed there. And the people searched for him for the whole day, and the bat stayed in there. Came night, when everybody went to bed, the bat came out, gathered his food, cooked his meal, and by dawn, when everyone was up looking for him again, he was back in the hole in the tree. And this went on and went. In fact, this is still going on to this very day. To this very day, the bat hides during the day, trying to escape justice, but only comes out at night. And that's why the bat flies at night. Lesson to this story is good friends don't trick friends into doing things that aren't good for them or harmful to them. If you're a good friend, be a good friend and look out for your friends, especially if they're supposed to be your BFF, best friend forever. Eshu is a trickster, and he's a trickster in different African pantheons, but he's a Orisha, or he's a god, a deity, and this one's the deity of tricks. And he loved to play tricks on humans. Oh, did he love to play tricks on humans. So one day, being bored, because he didn't have to go to school. Oh, wait a minute, he's a Rishi. He didn't have to go to school. One day, with being bored, he decided he was going to play a trick on some humans. So he went down to a village, and he had on a hat. It was blue on one side, red on the other, and he had 2 bags of seeds, a bag of blue seeds and a bag of red. Well, he had 2 bags, a red bag and a blue bag, or a blue bag and a red bag. And he walked through town, and everyone who saw that who thought that he had on a red hat, he gave some of the seeds from the red bag. And everybody who thought he was wearing a blue hat, he gave some seeds from the blue bag. But every time he gave them, he whispered, these are the best seeds in the whole wide world. They will give you the best crops and the best tasting food. And everybody who heard him talk about the blue bag of seeds thought the blue bag of seeds was the best seeds in the world. And everybody that heard him talk about the red bag of seeds thought the red bag of seeds was the best seeds in the world. And so people planted them and cultivated them and eventually harvested them and eventually had great big meals. And they were bragging about how they had the best seeds in the whole world. But the people on the red seed, no, we have the best seeds. The people with the blue seeds said, no, we have the best seeds. And they argued back and forth, 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 back and forth. You get the picture. Well, there were some children around who were listening to the adults argue, and they were hungry. And then while the adults were hungry, while the adults were arguing, the children did something that children sometimes are known to do. They each got some food. And being children, they sat down and they shared and compared their food. And they discovered both bags of seeds produced crops that were just as delicious. And eventually they were able to get the parents of the blue seeds to taste the red seeds and the parents of the red seeds to taste the blue seeds. And they discovered they're both the same. and they stop arguing. Sometimes it takes a child to point out the follies of adults. And we always talk about it takes a village to raise a child, but first it takes a village to be a village. And we must also remember it never hurts to listen to those younger than you because you're never too old to learn. Asante. Thank you. Speaking about confusion and arguments and tricksters, this is a story about the hyena and the rabbit. And the hyena and the rabbit both were observing humans, the new people. And the rabbit said, I don't get it. I don't get it. Why are they always arguing? Why are they always fighting? And the hyena said, you want to know? You want to know why humans are always arguing and always fighting? Follow me, follow me, follow me. And so the rabbit followed the hyena. The hyena came to a trap that it had snared a great big gazelle. And the hyena said, watch this, watch this, watch this, watch this. And the hyena very carefully freed the gazelle from the trap. And then dragging the gazelle down the path, it went all the way down to the seashore. When it got to the seashore, it said, watch this, watch this, watch this. And it kept looking until it found a net full of fish. And it took the net full of fish and it uncoupled the net full of fish and it tied the hyena to where the net used to be and put the I mean, it didn't tie the hyena, my bad. It tied the gazelle. That'd be an entirely different story. It tied the gazelle to where the net used to be and put the gazelle back in the water. And then the hyena said, watch me, follow me, follow me. You want to know why humans fight? Follow me, follow me, follow me. And he took the net of fish back to where the gazelle had been, and he tied the net of fish into the trap that had captured the gazelle. And then the hyena said, come, hide in the bush, hide in the bush, hide in the bush. We're gonna find out. I'm gonna show you why humans are always arguing and always fighting. So they sat in the bush and they waited and they waited and waited. And finally the hunter came and saw a net full of fish in his trap. He said, someone has stolen my game. Someone has stolen my gazelle. I must find it. Wait, what is that? Is that a trail in the dirt? And so he began to follow the dirt. Meantime, the fisherman found the gazelle where his trap should have been, where his net full of fish should have been. He said, someone has stolen my fish. I must find out who stole my fish. They will pay for this. Wait, is that a trail? Is that a trail going? And so he began to follow the trail. The hunter was following the trail leading to the sea, and the fisherman was following the trail leading to the trap. And they met in the middle. And they both said, you stole my gazelle. You stole my fish. No, I didn't. You stole. No, you didn't. You stole. I didn't steal. Yes, you did. No, I didn't. Yes, you did. And they started fighting. And the hyena turned to the rabbit and said, see, that's why humans fight. That's why humans fight. That's why humans argue. And the rabbit shook his head and hopped on down the bunny trail. I couldn't resist that one. And the hyena watched the two humans fight. And the lesson from this story is 9 times out of 10, people fight because they either don't communicate or they miscommunicate or they jump to conclusions. And the lesson of this story is don't jump to conclusions. Talk. Find out what's actually going on before you take actions. Asante. I like that story. Wow. Ooh, that looks delicious. What are we drinking? Oh, she can write it down in the I think Louie's on the way to swim. And Terry, I'm really curious. What do you drink? Well, maybe we don't want the kids to know.
It's just Coke Cherry Zero or Coke Cherry.
Yeah, I got you. That used to be one of my favorite. If it wasn't for Dr. Pepper, I wouldn't drink sodas.
Mm.
I love Dr. Pepper. I've ever since I was knee high to a soda machine, I've loved Dr. Pepper. But okay, and I'm drinking. What am I drinking? I'm drinking fruit punch with lemonade. That's my story, and I'm sticking to it. Talking about miscommunications, this is a story about Eba and egusi soup. Now, Eba is a paste made from cassava plant. And cassava, for those of us not familiar, think about a yam. It's not a yam, but think about a yam or a sweet potato for the Americans. Wait a minute, I'm an American. And what they do is they dry it out and they pound it, not with their fists, but it's like a pistol and mortar, and they pound it until they have a dry paste, and they add just a little bit of moisture, a little bit of water or something to it, and it makes for a doughy. Food that doesn't have much flavor, but you use it with other things. And sometimes people dip it into stews or dip it into another dish to give it flavor, but it doesn't have much flavor. In fact, by itself, it's dull. So there was a lady who was very poor, and she didn't have enough money or enough ingredients to make egusi soup. Now, egusi soup, oh my goodness. And you talk about delicious. I mean, this soup was so delicious. If it could, it would have eaten itself. That's just how good it was. But so the lady who only had egba, she walked across the way and got her neighbor's attention and said, "Excuse me, I don't have anything to go with my egba. I was wondering if you could spare some of your egusi soup." And the lady with the egusi soup said, "Share." I don't do a good woman's voice, so I'm not going to even try. The last time I tried to do a woman's voice, the paramedic showed up because someone called and said I was in pain. But she said, share my egusi soup. Are you deaf, lady? Go away, leave me alone. I have no time for poor people like you. And she went back inside. Now, in some versions of the story, she shut the door, but in other versions of the story, it's before doors were needed. But because I'm an American, she shut her door. Wait a minute, that's the second time I dissed myself. Anyhow, so the old lady went back and she sat down and she took her egba and she sniffed, and she could smell the sweet aroma of that delicious stew. And it must be delicious because now my stomach is rumbling. And she ate her egba, but she thought about the stew. And she ate her egba and thought about the stew. Now, the lady with the stew looked out her window and saw what the old lady was doing and said, "What are you doing?" She said, "Nothing, I'm just smelling the sweet aroma of your stew while I eat my egba because it makes it a little less dull. And I'm imagining that I'm eating the soup because of the sweet aroma." "You are stealing the aroma from my soup. You must pay for this. You are stealing the aroma from my soup. You will pay, you will pay, you will pay." And she went and presented herself before the Oba, the king, and said, "My neighbor is stealing the scent, is stealing the aroma of my stew, and she must be punished." And the Oba thought, and he stroked his white beard. It's white because my beard is white. He stroked his white beard, and he said, "You are correct. This woman must be punished for transgressions. She must be punished for stealing the scent of your egusi soup. Take this broom, and you must beat her shadow until it cries out for forgiveness." And the woman snatched the broom and began to beat the shadow when she realized how foolish she must be looking to the rest of the village, being the shadow of a woman, expecting the shadow to beg for forgiveness. She realized how silly she was being. And in that moment, she dropped the broom. She looked at the old lady and asked her for forgiveness. And then the two of them went back and shared the egusi soup and the eba that the lady had made. And guess what? They became very good neighbors. Some even say they became best friends. But I know this: neither went hungry again. Asante. And the lesson from this story is it never hurts to be kind. You can share. Never hurts to be kind. Or to drink Coke Zero Cherry. Wow. I'm looking at my, I don't call it a cheat slip. I call it my memory enhancer. It's a listing of just some of the stories I have. This is my top 40 list. Before I go on, does anyone want to comment about what they've heard so far? I can brace myself. I can take constructive criticism. I can also accept allocades, and I have no shame when it comes to stories. But if anyone wants to comment, yes, Terry.
So Baba C, that last story I really enjoyed. I tell a different version. So it is kind of fun to find different versions of similar stories that happen all around the world.
Isn't it? I mean, because sometimes I'll be listening to a story. There's a story, if I remember, there's a story I want to tell as soon as I remember which one it is, that I think I heard Brother Baden tell, and I've heard several other stories tell. And in fact, I don't know where I got it from. And I like being able to give credit where credit's due. But it's one of the beautiful things. You hear a story and you go, wait a minute, I know that story.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
my version is, I believe, originally from Italy, but it's about a poor man smelling a baker's bread.
Oh, I've heard that version too.
Yeah,
Yes,
that's the
yes.
smell. So, but I love the soup one too. So thank you for sharing that.
Well, see, there we have it, soup and bread. All right, thank you. Anybody else want to make a comment now?
Super.
He just goes. John Rowe just went super. He made a pun. John Rowe, you've been around me too long. Yes, Louis.
I love your stories.
Thank you, Louis. I love you loving my stories. Are you on the way to swim?
Yes, I am.
All right.
I thought I wasn't.
What?
Tonight I am, because it's just night.
All right. Well, you have a good.
But it's okay.
You have a good swim, Louis.
Thank you.
All right. And that reminded me of something. Years ago, I used to do a program called Summer Lift, Learning is Fun Time. And we went swimming once or twice a week with the summer participants. And I always gave it a challenge. I said, anyone who can go swimming and get in the water without getting wet, I'll give $10 to. And this is back when $10 was worth something. Today $10 won't even, it'll put a drop of petrol, as our non-American friends would say. It'll put a drop of petrol in your vehicle, but it won't fill it up. But $10, I will offer $10 to any student that could get in the water without getting wet. And this went on. I was doing this for years. Then one day, this young man, this young boy, I don't know, he was either 12 or 14, I don't remember which. He ran and he said, Baba C, Baba C, Baba C, Baba C. I went, yes, 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 yes. He said, are you still offering $10 for anyone who can get in the water without getting wet? I said, yes, yes, yes. So he ran back out and he came back in. He had this huge piece of construction paper and he drew a circle on the construction paper and he wrote words around the outside of the circle. And it said, in the water. And then he stepped inside the circle. Yes, Terry, I broke out laughing too, because he had gotten in the water without getting wet. But here's the kicker. He wouldn't take the $10. He said, no, you do so much for us. You always have us thinking. and you always have fun way. I know we're up here learning, but it's so much fun. No, he said, add it to the pizza fund. And what I would do is that if the students met certain goals by Thursday, on Friday, we would have a pizza party. So that's what we did. So I added it to the pizza fund. But that just reminded me how he got in the water without getting wet. Okay. This story is a little bit different. This is about Anansi and the deer and the fire. Now, in California, in certain parts of the Southwest, they're having a problem with uncontrolled bushfires, forest fires, and my heart goes out to all of those who've been displaced or have lost property because of the fires. But it reminded me of this story, and this story takes place. Now, it depends on who's telling the story, where it takes place. So I'm going to say it takes place in Africa, but it could take place in the United States. And I'm going to select the animal to be a deer, because that's very ambiguous, because that includes gazelles and other animals too. But this deer had horns, and a fire broke out. It was a terrible fire, and all the animals were trying to run and get away. But the deer didn't know which way to go because it couldn't see above the fire line. But up in a tree was Anansi. Now, Anansi in parts of Africa, they grow to be bigger than Baba C's hand. And that's pretty big for a spider, but it's small compared to a gorilla. Yes, I know the word is gorilla, but if I ever saw anything that big and ugly coming after me, I go real fast to get away from it. I couldn't resist it, Terry. I couldn't resist it. Well, the deer didn't know which way to go. And Anansi said, psst, psst, psst. And the deer looked up and said, yes, yes, yes. I can see above the fire line. If we work together, we can get out of here alive. And the deer said, okay, okay. So Anansi lowered himself on the top of the deer's antlers and spun a web so that he was at the top. And he said, go the way I tell you to go. And so the deer took off. And every now and then Anansi would say, to the left, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the right. Back up, back up, back up. Go forward, go forward, go forward. To the left, to the left, to the left, to the right, to the right, to the right. Left, right, left, right, left, right. Halt! Okay, go forward. And so with Anansi giving instructions, the deer was able to find his way out of the fire and cross the riverbank to the other side. Now, I like to tell this story because all of us have our gifts, and all of us have areas that we may not be so talented in. And all of us have things that we can share with other people. And that's where this story really grabs my storytelling heart, because on its own, the deer couldn't get away from the fire. And on his own, even though he had eight legs, Anansi couldn't travel fast enough to get away from the fire. But to working together, yeah, do that. Yeah, oh yeah, you are brilliant. Oh, thank you, Terry. Forgive me for the following pun. I just learned a lot from you.
I work a lot with really young children, so
I do too, but this I would never have thought about that. But I like that. Thank you.
You're welcome.
I got to use that. I got to use that. So back to the lesson of the story. So we each have strengths, and we each have areas where we're not so strong in. But if we come together and share our strengths, like the deer was very swift, but Anansi could see the fire line from his high perch. So working together, they were able to accomplish what neither could have done on his or her own. So that is my story about Anansi, the deer, and the fire. Oops, I stepped on another pin. The pin bit, and that's the way that story went. I think I have time for another story. Let's see. We did Why the Bat Only Comes Out at Night. Ooh, that looks nice, but I'm not going to do that one. Oh, let me see. I need a prop for this. Can you hear that? Okay. So A long time ago, a long time ago, before humans had been invented by the creator, all the animals could talk to each other. And the great creator had given the birds wings so it could fly. But when it ran out of wings, it just created the penguins. And the great creator gave long legs to some animals so they could run very, very fast. And to some animals, it gave 2 legs and a tail, and they could jump very, very fast. Kangaroos, for those who may not have picked up on that. But he'd given everybody a special gift or ability. They could fly, they could breathe on the water, they could swim very fast, they could fly through the air. There was a lot of flying going on. And some of the animals he made strong, like the gorilla. Some he made very agile, like the chimpanzee and the monkey. And he gave them all, and some of them he made very big, tough, and strong, like the elephant. And then he made one animal that proclaimed itself to be king of the jungle, and that was the lion. And I'd be lying if I said the lion wasn't the king of the jungle. I know, Terry, I can't help myself sometimes. Well, when it came to the snake, the great creator had given out just about all the parts, and he made the snake long, but there were no more legs to give out. And he had given the keen eyesight to the eagles and the other birds, so the snake's eyes weren't very, very good. But he did give the snake a very good sense of smell, but not in its nose, in its tongue. Yes, snakes smell with their tongues. Well, this didn't sit too well with the other animals because the snake was always going around biting people. And at first it was just a nuisance because snake would bite you, you get very sick. And so the animals began to complain. And so the Brother Rabbit, here goes Brother Rabbit again. He says, they said, we need someone to go speak to the creator because the snake is just being ridiculous. He's biting everything, and that's not right. We're not bothering him. He shouldn't bother us. So Brother Rabbit said, well, I'll go speak to the creator. I'll go speak to the creator. And so with the help from Anansi the spider, who spun a web all the way to heaven, not heaven, heaven, all the way to heaven, 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 all the way to heaven, bomb. The rabbit climbed the great spider web all the way and said, oh, great creator, creator of all things. We the other animals, we have a complaint. You see, the snake is going around biting everybody, and it's inconvenient because when he bites, he don't let go. And so people are walking around hobbling and having to use crutches, and we need something done. And the great creator said, well, I've given everyone special gifts, but I have not given one to the snake. Go back down to the earth and tell the snake to come up and see me. With all due respect, creator, could you just make him come up yourself? I don't want to get bit again. Yes, I will do that. And so with that, the great creator clapped his hands once, the rabbit went back down to earth, clapped his hands twice, and the snake was suddenly before him. He said, and the snake went, oh no, you didn't do that yet. You don't have those yet. My bad. Take 2. And the snake said, is that you, creator? I can't see that well, but I smell what smells like perfection. Is that you? Yes, it is I. I have complaints of you biting everybody. Just you're a little ankle biter. You're going around biting everybody, and people are running around hobbling and using crutches. Well, I don't mean any harm, but you didn't give me any legs. I can't see that well. I can smell, but by the time I smell someone, they're on top of me, they're stepping on me. So yeah, I bite them. Well, I tell you what, I'm going to give you something to defend yourself. Open your mouth wide and say, oh. And he put these fangs in his mouth and he said, now, when you go back down to the earth, when you bite somebody if they step on you, but don't go after people. I'm giving you these to defend yourself. And so 2 claps of his hand, the snake was back on the earth. Well, now the snake was more than just a bother, because now when he bit people, the fangs in his mouth had poison, and he's sending everybody to heaven, all the way to heaven, 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 all the way to heaven, bomb. And Bro Rabbit, he had so many relatives in heaven, heaven was getting overcrowded. So the other animals talked to him. The Nazi spun another web, and he went all the way back up. He said, Creator, I know, you work in mysterious ways, but now he's just biting everybody. And oh, hey there, cousin Irene. Oh, hey there, Uncle Mike. I mean, this is ridiculous. Yes, I think something must be done because heaven's becoming overcrowded with your relatives. How many of you are down there? Well, you mean now or 10 minutes from now? Never mind, don't answer the question. And the rabbit was gone, and the snake was before him again. He said, when I gave you those fangs, it was to protect yourself, but now you're just biting everything. You bit a tree the other day. What were you thinking? He said, come here. He said, hold still. He attached rattlers to the end of the snake's tail. Now listen to me very carefully. I know you don't have very good eyesight. Sorry about that. I ran out of the good eyes. And you don't have any legs because I ran out of legs. But I've given you a real good sense of smell, even though you have to use your tongue. And this is what I want you to do. When you hear somebody about to approach you, shake that rattle. Shake that rattle. Shake, rattle, and roll. Oh, shake, rattle. Oh, no, wait a minute. That's another story. And you shake that rattle. Now, that'll be fair warning to them to stop and to back off. And if they don't back off, you do what you got to do. The snake was back down to earth, minding his business. And when the first animal, when other animals would get too close, they heard that and they knew to back off. But some animals, like some people, they just say, nah, I ain't backing off. You can't make me back off. And they're on the way to heaven. To this day, the snake had his rattles. When you hear that sound, unless you're in a baby's nursery, back off. All right. John Rowe, we're at the quarter of mark. You want me to tell one more short story? You want to come in? Oh, wait, I got to hear some feedback from the people. So if anybody has any comments about the stories thus far, including John Rowe, feel free.
Hold on. Well, I just feel really rattled at the moment, but apart from that, just a sec.
You had to snake that one in there.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Right. Well, I've just got to emphasize what's coming up. I think you kind of, we've had our 3/4 of an hour. Louis is going to be in the pool in a minute, and so let's sort of wrap it up. But it's been a brilliant evening. Thank you very much. I love the snake, and actually just brilliant. Now what's coming up? Tuesday, 5 o'clock UK time. Or Irish time, for Amir's sake. In fact, I say Irish time and UK time. Then we've got our young international tellers. It's a very special week this week because as well as our regular tellers like Kenza from Italy and maybe Jasna may would have finished her exams, I'm not sure. We've got a group of tellers that were Babasi and I and a couple others did. We judged a storytelling competition. It was just, it's only ridiculous in the morning. For Babasi, it was even more ridiculous in the morning, and that was in Gaza. And so there's a school in Gaza, and they're coming on, and they're going to tell their stories, and we'd like to get loads of people in to support them, really, so they feel good. So that's Tuesday, 5 o'clock Irish time, and you look up Dublin or London, it doesn't make any odds. And then on Friday at 6 o'clock again, we've got Sarah Lloyd Winder, wonderful teller. Louis likes her. And then so we've got no worldwide story round this Sunday, but the Sunday after Sarah Lloyd, we've got our worldwide story round. So everyone's welcome to come onto that, but that's in 2 weeks' time or the week and a half's time. But meanwhile, thank you all very much for coming on. Thank you for there's loads of people watching elsewhere. Thank you, Amir, for popping in. See, I love the corner of your harp just sticking out there. It's and Terry, so and Baba C in Washington DC. Thank you for your stories. Waleed, as always, thank you for flying the magic carpet. And meanwhile, and Louis, have a good week.
Yeah. Thank you.
See you next week, Louis.
I'll see you next week, John.
And yes,
Okay.
Terry, we observe daylight saving time. Do they not do it in Ohio?
I don't know.
Well, yeah, we could all do with saving.
So but John, does the UK do daylight savings?
Yeah, we
Yes.
changed. Yeah, I don't think that's changing yet.
Well,
Uh,
ours is changing Sunday, so I'm trying to figure out what time I'm supposed to tune in next week.
Our daylight
Well, it'll
saving, we
be-
change on the 27th. So it's always the last Sunday of March.
Okay.
yeah. So it
That-
could well be the same in UK.
Oh, no,
No.
it is always the same. We are sometimes in sync, John.
So we'll be- okay, I can figure that out then. I'll have to make-
or in the same sync. But it's-
Exactly.
I'll have to make one change next week and a different change the following. Okay.
Right.
right. Now you've really confused me, Terry. I just go on Google and find out where I'm supposed to be at what time. But meanwhile, thank you all very much for coming on. We will see you. Have
Okay.
a lovely time. Bye,
Bye-bye.
everyone.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
To be continued. Thanks, John. That was real good. Thanks, Terry.
Bye, Baba C.
Nope. Until the next time, to be continued.
Until the next time. You know what, Baba C, I wish we lived closer together. I think we could do a great program together.
We still can. We just have to. We just have to do the logistics together. Later, Louis. Enjoy
Bye,
your
Louis.
swim.
Yeah, bye.
I
No, but
love Louis.
I would love to see you in person. I mean, it's
Oh, we. You know what? We got time to make that happen.
We'll
that's
try.
something we. Yeah. No. Try. Do. We will
okay.
make it happen. All right.
All
Well,
right.
before
Take care.
You too. Take care. And
Bye-bye.
I know what Waleed is waiting.